Hi, welcome to Entrepreneurs and Leaders. And today we have Isabel, which is a leadership coach for more than 20 years, joining us from Canada. So, Isabel, tell us, what are the 5 steps to become a great leader?
Welcome to Entrepreneurs Are Leaders podcast with Harry Sardinas. Interviews with world's most influential entrepreneurs that share tips about how to grow your business exponentially. Charismatic speaking, leadership, branding, marketing strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.
Well, thank you for having me. That's first and foremost. I'm so happy to be here and talking with you, talking leadership with you, because I know you're such a great leader. Well, the 5 common traits to all great leaders that I work with are their ability to listen, truly listen to their people, their empathy, their adaptability. That's extremely important. Getting to know their people on a deep level. And the last step is tapping into who they are, tapping into the uniqueness of each individual. Because when people know what they contribute to a team, what the special thing that they do and they do best, they just want to do more of it. So you get the best of every single team member. So that, for me, that would be the 5 steps to being the greatest leader of the greatest teams out there.
And then, Isabel, why you decided to help people how to become a great leaders? What happened?
Oh, it's been a long journey for me. So I joined the military right out of high school.
Wow.
And I was in the Air Force for about a decade. And I learned a lot about teaching and communications and leadership. And when I decided to jump to corporate America, I was struck by how leaders worked and how little leadership skills they had, to no fault of their own. I am not issuing blame here. This is not about blame. It's just a lack of leadership training. Because you see,
100%.
In the military, every leader has had leadership training.
100%.
But in the civilian world, what they do is they take the best out of the department. So they take the best salesman or salesperson, I should say, and then they promote that person to being the manager of the sales team. Well, selling is a skill, and so is leadership.
100%.
Leadership is a skill. So if you don't teach that skill to your people, you can't expect them to be good at it.
Yeah.
So when I started my corporate world job, my corporate business, my business life, I went, oh my goodness, these people don't know what they're doing. And it took me a long time to figure out that it was the lack of training. And so that's when I decided to build my business and help them out and teach them what is it? How do you become a great leader? And so I developed my business, and here I am almost 2 decades later.
I think that this is a great idea because let's go step by step, yeah,
Yes.
and break down some stereotypes that people might have. Number one,
Yes.
people think, or probably it's a general opinion that that leadership or the leaders is because they have talent, right? Like Martin Luther King, for example, was a great leader. Just to give you an idea, and people say, well, he just have talent for it, and they're thinking that is same like singing, for example. I have a cousin that he paints art, so clearly he's very talented. There is no way that I can do the art that he does. But when it comes to leadership, yes, it's exactly what you say. It's a skill base.
Yes.
Basically, the more you practice, the better you become. It's like driving on swimming. So, and because it's a skill set, The only way, I mean, you learn how to drive because you have an instructor that train you, that teach you to help
Right.
you to do the skill. And again, but on top of that, you do have to practice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, when I go to these conferences, and if you see the people, yeah, people, Harry, this is amazing. How you do that? That was amazing. Yeah, this was so impressive. And I'm telling them, guys, I had done this 1,000 times. That's the only impressive thing that you think is not about. It's because I've done it so many times. That's why you like it. This is available for everyone. Public speaking, leadership, these are the skills. Now, people don't want to practice, Isabel. People don't want to learn. And oh no, people know. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, there is not enough public knowledge that leadership is a skill set, and everybody
True.
can become a great leader. We keep
Absolutely.
thinking that it's a
And
talent base, and we keep thinking that if you're good at your job, yeah, or sales, which is another skill, by the way, um, you should be having leadership positions. But I think, my personal opinion, all the problems that we have in the world, not only in companies, is only one: lack of leadership. That the
mhm.
reasons that company fail, that the reason that even relationship fails. Maybe you were in the military. I think that even worse happen is lack of leadership with the people mediating, to try to avoid that, right? So we want to, and especially from my own business, I can tell you, yeah, everybody want to be speaker, nobody want to be a leader. Yeah, everyone want the club, the glory, the light spot, and without realizing that in order to influence an audience, you have to become a leader, and leadership skills are there. So, and I think that in the military they give you a lot of training because there are life at the stakes. If the company doesn't work,
Mhm.
probably you just lost the money. But you don't have that luxury in the military, because lack of leadership can lead to a loss of real life. So that's why there is different procedures there. Now, talking about military and going to corporate, right? And talking about the leaderships, yeah. Going to corporate, on the other hand, is what are the difference? Because in the military, you give an order, you have to do it, whatever it takes, no discussion. Whether in
Well, I
corporate
have to tell you, Harry, that was
is
my
different.
experience at all.
Uh,
It wasn't my experience at all. Yes, there are
wow.
both the
I mean, this is
military.
our view. This is our view that how the military is. When we see movies, yeah. So when we see movies, they said, okay, you have to follow the discipline and everything. Is it really like this, or is more like the similarities in corporate? Tell us. We wanna know.
Well, like I had started to say, no, in my experience, because I've only served in the Canadian Air Force, so I don't know how it works in every
Other
other
countries.
militaries out there.
Mhm.
Um, but no, it wasn't my experience. There are moments where it's extremely command and control. And there are moments where command and control, even in the corporate world, is very appropriate and is the right thing to do. I'll
Very
give you an
good.
example.
Very good.
If the building is on fire, it's not time to ask for everybody's feelings. It's
It's
time to get the
command and
hell
control.
out. So the command and control, if the building is on fire, is the right. It's the appropriate leadership
Look
style.
at it. Very good.
Now, in as far as the military is concerned, the leadership works as I had begun to say in the first part of this interview. It works well because leaders get training and they do get the chance to practice their leadership skills and learn and build on what they learn. And there is still a false belief out there. We see great leaders and we think that we call them natural born leaders. Well, there's no such thing.
I agree with you
Every
100%.
expert is someone that
100%.
just put in the time and did everything they had to do in order to build their skills. That's what an expert is. It's just somebody who failed more often than you did
Practice
and
more.
got up and did it more often than you did. So as far as leadership is concerned, it's the same thing. However, what the military is extremely good at doing and civilian and corporate world isn't good at it yet is putting the mission first. So even though when I work with leaders, I tell them that it's extremely important to be heart-centered. It's extremely important to be human first, because the job of a leader is not to get the job done. The job of a leader is to take care of the people who actually do the job. So that being said, when you put the mission first, that doesn't mean that you disregard the humans behind the job. It's actually quite the opposite. What it means is, even if employee A has been doing a specific task for 10 years, if employee B comes in and has been in the organization for only 2 months and is better at accomplishing that task with less mistakes, more efficiently, in less time, then that person gets to do that task because it is better for the mission. So it's about putting a little bit of the egos aside, and egos has nothing to do with abilities. So when you put the mission first, then you do get to tap into the unique abilities of every single team member. And most of the time, what you end up doing is taking away the task that people actually hate to do and give it to someone who's actually loving to do that task. It's just that in the beginning, when you do a transition to get to a better functioning team and become a better leader, sometimes you're gonna, ruffle some feathers a little bit.
Yeah, and then Isabel, I think that the entrepreneurs, right? People just start a business without realizing that somehow they they have to become leaders, and this happened to me in my first business, right? Where I started, I didn't know any better. Yeah, I don't think that I didn't even know what leadership means. When I started my first business, I was so worried to selling my product and make some profit, and I make sure that I pay all my bills, and I have my marketing. But inside all that, I started to employ people, right? And something magic happened when I started to employ people. Few things that I didn't know. Yeah, number one, that they were all better than me at everything, which is something that I was extremely happy about it. Yeah, I'm telling my employees, you guys are amazing. Eh? So I'm like talking to my employees. I say, how you do that? How you can sell the product so easy for more expensive? I was doing it myself, and I struggle a lot, right? But inside that, I remember that in the office, everybody, despite that they were all better than me at everything, and that was the truth at everything, they used to come to me to ask me questions. Yeah, at some point there were so many. We run our first business was a property business. We managed to sell over 5 million. So uh, they are jumping to my desk all the time. Harry, what do you think about this? Harry, what do you think about that? What should do about this? So I decided to put out of survival, and that's the truth because I didn't have any leadership training. Out of survival, I put a sign behind my desk that said, "Okay, don't. If you come to ask me a question, propose 2 or 3 solutions, right?" So like that, it's more effective because you come in with a problem, and now I have to think. Uh, come with 2 3 things. So now they start to come in with the 3 solutions, and then I was telling them, okay, what do you think? Which one? What should I choose? You choose. It doesn't matter if I choose, you choose. At the end of the day, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we have to choose something else. There is no blaming or none of us in this particular topic, none of us are, in my opinion, you are more qualified to to provide the same solution than me. You're actually selling better than me, right? So somehow I start the dynamic, that dynamic in the office, yeah, to the point that they were joking about themselves, saying, "Oh, Harry's useless. Don't go and ask him anything. It's just you need to provide with your own solution." They were making jokes, and it was a lot of fun. But guess what happened? One day I arrived to the office, and they literally sent me home. They told me, Harry, we don't need you anymore. I'm like, what? So you don't need paper in the photocopy at least? No, we can get our own paper and we are fine.
But
You
that's the proof
just
you did
go
a
home.
great job.
Yeah.
That's the proof you did a great job,
I
Harry,
didn't
because
even
the
know what I
job of a
feel.
leader is not to create followers. The job of a
100%.
leader is to create
Yeah.
more leaders.
I feel
So you did.
so strange, like like I'm thinking like I made obsolete myself. What just happened here?
That's
And
beautiful. That's what you want.
yeah, without knowing, all this happened without knowing that I caused leadership. After I had to a self-discovering journey to for me to understand even myself what actually was happening, because I was doing it just by but what's
Survival.
an important thing, Isabel, about growing, about leadership? Yeah, probably we were discussing before. As you know, I'm originally from Cuba, whether I we have been with this trauma that leaders hold the position forever. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
and and it's I've been in a lot of debates, because
mm-hmm,
people out there still think that that Hitler was a big leader or Fidel Castro was a big leader, and I jump into a lot of debates like this all the time,
mm-hmm.
and I've said, look, um, if they are not able to pass the leadership, right? How can you call them great leaders?
No, it's
Uh,
dictatorship. It's not leadership.
is something is because it's exactly what you said. If you're not able to create new leaders and to mesh and you step away, I don't. This is I think that we are agreeing on our definition of leadership, but there is
Mhm.
a lot of leadership definition out there that I need to go into a lot of debate because uh, people get confused, Isabel. What is a great
Mhm.
leader? So can you define it for us?
Well, a great leader is. There's a great book by Simon Sinek that said that the title of the book is Leaders Eat Last. And that for me is the perfect example of what a leader is. A leader is somebody who empowers their team member, their employees, their whatever you want to call them, anybody, all the direct reports to be the best version and to bring the best version of themselves to work for the common good. And the common good cannot be about money. We don't build companies to make money. I mean, building a company to solely make money is like I'm buying a car simply to put gas in it. That's not the purpose. You want to sell a product because you're passionate about that product, or you want to sell a service because you're passionate about that service, or because you want to help somebody else, or because you want to do good in your community and you want to help other people, and because you want to simplify other people's lives. So the great leader will, as you said with your example, which was a great example, and even Harry, if what your instinct was out of pure exhaustion
Yeah,
and self-protection, because if you had to be cook and bottle
it was
washer
literally
for
self-protection, yes,
exactly,
self-presentation,
exactly. But
preservation.
even if that was the reason or the motivation behind, you did the right thing, because what you did is you created more leaders, because and they did it. They did it without you. And
Amazing,
that's
yeah.
fantastic. That's fantastic. Because that's what you want. You want to become obsolete. And once you become obsolete, you can go build something else, which is what you did.
100%, yeah.
Exactly. So, on a great team, your employees, your direct reports, your team member, they have to be able to do three things. The first one is admit they made a mistake. The second one is ask stupid questions. And the last thing is they have to be able to bring crazy ideas. And there's a reason behind all these three. The first thing is if they can't admit that they made a mistake, growth is over. They will never learn because they're going to be afraid. And we learn by failing. We learn nothing by success. The second thing is if they can't ask stupid questions, even if there are no such thing, if they can't ask stupid questions, then learning is over because you learn by daring to say, I don't understand this. And bring crazy ideas because if your employees leave their best ideas in their car before they walk in the building, innovation is over.
Now you're
And by
done.
your example, Harry, I love this example and I'm going to use it. I'm going to give you credit.
Absolutely.
But by doing that, you empowered your employees.
Yeah,
You're
without
allowed
knowing.
to come to me. You're allowed to share what the problem is, but you have to come up with a solution.
I created an
And once
empowering
you
context by accident.
no, but that's a beautiful accident, and I don't believe it was an accident. But you empower them, and when you empower your employees, they become leaders. And I'm sure, Harry, even though I don't know you, this is the first conversation, but I get
Okay.
it from you. I get your big heart. I'm sure, even if you were trying to protect you protect yourself and protect your sanity and protect your livelihood, you trusted them.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't trust them, you would have not tell them to make the decision. But that's what you did. You say, come with the problem, bring three solutions, and then choose. That's extremely trusting. And you know what, Harry? When we want trust, we have to give trust first. And that is what you did. And I commend you, my friend, because that's a beautiful thing you did.
I didn't want them to see me, like I'm the boss and you have to do what I say. I didn't have this. I'm totally the opposite. I want to go, that the boss, they don't invite them usually to go for a drink or to go
That's
out.
true.
I didn't want, I didn't want that they let me out. You know what I mean? So I had, yeah. And actually, they did invite me all the time. And I remember in the team, we were renting the rooms, and the girls, I dance salsa because I'm originally from Cuba, and my managers they love to do dance salsa, right?
Of
And
course.
it was seven out of them, and they were to me, okay, Harry, let's go on dance salsa. Can you go with us? And I was telling them, okay, fine. We do. Let's you guys do the job, rent of the rooms. I'll go with you. Yeah, I didn't want to go. Was time I said, look, I take all of you, and then we go, and then we go to a salsa place, and then you guys learn how to dance and things like that. So they were actually, I was one of them, right?
Of course.
And I didn't want them to let me out, and if I start
Yeah.
to do this personality, I'm the boss, you have to do what I say,
It doesn't
I'm,
work.
I'm out of the group.
Yeah. And
uh,
it doesn't work.
and exactly. And now let's see what happened. What happened was that when I let, and maybe that's the difference, about this leadership, right? When you surrender that ego and this, I am the owner, everybody has to do what I say. I think a lot of progress can be done in corporate because the sales, exactly what you described, because somebody was doing as sales, he took the leadership position and he doesn't have enough skills. Now it goes to self-preservation. That self-preservation come with authority. With you have to do what I say, and the team really quickly realize, when the leadership is forcing an outcome, yeah. And the other day, somebody in this podcast would ask me, Great question. They asked me, Harry, what is the straight line? The straight line. What is the fastest point? The fastest journey from point A to point B? And I said the straight line. He told me, no, Harry, it's not a straight line. Line is the path with less resistance. Think about the
Mm-hmm.
river, right?
Mm-hmm.
So forcing an outcome is bringing a lot of resistance to
Absolutely.
into organization. And
Absolutely.
the issue with this resistance is that the company, the organization, become really slow in order to respond to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's like compare like a Titanic big boat compare with 3,000 little boats. Yes, when
Mm-hmm.
leadership is in place, it's like you have 3,000 little boats. You say
Mm-hmm.
turn right, boat number one turn right, and the 3,000 boat very quickly they turn right. Whether you have a Titanic, you say turn right, and oh my God, the whole big Titanic is turning right, right? So that's what happened when it's not leadership. In my view, when leadership is not in place in the organization, then the response to change is really slow, and this
Yeah.
is the main reason why company collapse. So, how are the challenges that you're facing conveying your message to corporate? Yeah, which is very simple to apply with this analogy that I'm just telling you, and you're laughing because you know that this is exactly how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very
Absolutely.
difficult to convey that in an organization that
Yes.
we need the right leaders in every position because each leader is gonna be a captain on this little boat,
Yeah.
and they're gonna, like you said, at some point it's gonna be command and do right, and it's
Yes.
turn right because we're gonna sink if we don't do it because the iceberg is in front of us, and all the leadership structure, all the captains, all these leader boards, everybody had to be aligned with the right training
Mm-hmm.
to when an order comes that is strict, we have to do it whatever it takes. But at the same time, they have their own respect and love and appreciation from the people that they are in those little votes because they're not gonna turn right if they don't respect you. If they don't, if you don't consider them. So,
Yeah.
how difficult is to convey this to corporate, and what are the biggest challenges that you have find out trying to get this message across in your 20 years of experience? You do have double, more than three times more years working in leadership than me. So, I'm
Uh,
actually here to learn. Yeah, I'm the
I
student here today.
we all have something to learn from one another. So I have as much to learn from you as you do from me. So, uh, well, ironically, I would tell you that the leaders who need the kind of support that I provide the most are the least kind of leaders who are going to hire me, because the ones who need this kind of leadership skills are the ones that are extremely command and control, and they sit in their nice corner office and they have no idea how much it
And the last
costs,
thing they want is a leadership
because
coach in the organization.
exactly. Exactly. And they don't want to hear about the touchy feely, and they don't want to hear about empowerment, and they don't care. So, that being said, the first kind of leader that I help is actually aware that they need support, right?
Mm.
So, as soon as they're aware of the fact that maybe it would be beneficial for them personally, for their team, for their organization, and for their bottom line, because an engaged employee is more efficient, more profitable, obviously. So it affects the bottom line extremely positively. So, and to almost in the 80%. So more profit, right?
Mm.
So, I mean,
Yeah, Isabel, let's talk about this. How much money organizations are leaving off the table for lack of leadership? People don't,
oh my God,
we're talking about millions and millions of
millions and
dollars.
millions and millions and millions. In the
And
US,
but I'm sure
in,
if you go to this type of leader, you have to do what I say and so on, and you present a chart with how much money they're leaving on the table. I think that they won't be more open to to hear what you want to say, right? Because we're talking about a
In
lot
the
of money.
US alone, Harry, in the US alone, corporate America leaves $500 billion on the table per year
Wow,
on employee turnover. And people don't leave a job, they leave a boss.
100%.
We leave a job because we can't stand our boss, our managers, or a bad
This I can tell you.
coworker, or a bad work environment, or bad company culture. And in employee turnover in the US, of course, that includes every company that wanted to answer the Gallup study that was made, but $500 billion per year in employee turnover.
I
And
asked.
I'm only talking about employee turnover. I'm not talking about the cost of silent quitting. And I'm not talking about how much time they actually waste not being productive.
This is,
And because the lack of employee engagement is extremely, extremely, extremely costly.
and
So
we asked to our employees, yeah. Some of them are staying for years, yeah. I asked them once. I said, guys, why you still? We pay you good money, but I'm sure that working with us, you go out there, you can get way more money.
it's
You
rarely about money.
why you still around? And the answer that our employees are telling us, they're telling us that they like to work with me and with my girlfriend Lily, with my partner. They say,
It
Harry,
is
they say we like to work with you, and we're happy with the money that we're getting. So that's why
It
we're
is
still around.
very, I'm
They
telling you,
like
Harry,
it.
it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
very, very, very rarely about money. Because a lot of employees will actually agree to change jobs for less money if it provides them a better work environment. So,
Mm.
and employees have to learn to ask the right questions to see if the company culture fits with them when they decide to have a job or to apply for a job. Because in an interview, you as an employee, you should ask as many questions. What is the turnaround rate of this company? And if it's extremely high, you're dealing with a bad vibe. You're dealing with a bad vibe.
It's
And I mean,
expensive to train.
I understand that there are situations in life that you financially have to accept
100%.
whatever is out there. I
100%.
understand that. We've all been there, right? We've
Yeah.
all been there. But if you are in a position, if you actually have a job and you're looking for better, ask questions about the company culture, ask questions about the turnover. Do your due diligence, do your homework, check it out because you don't want to change jobs just to change jobs.
100%. So,
Yeah.
Isabel, is somebody are loving our conversation and want to learn more from you, want to hear more from you? How can they find you? How this process work?
Well, how they can find me, there are two
Corporate
ways to find.
CEOs, for example, listening this podcast, yeah, probably resonate what we're talking about. How can they find you?
Well, finding me is easy. There are two great ways to find me. The first one is through my website, and the website name is againsttheordinary.org altogether. So againsttheordinary.org. And if you go on LinkedIn, my name is Isabelle Fortin. And once you find the Isabelle Fortin page, because there are hundreds of us, it's the one with the purple hair.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm
Purple.
very easy to
Yeah.
find. I'm the one with the purple hair.
Very good.
So, and the process is actually very simple. I do a psychometric assessment on everybody,
Wow.
including
Very
and
good.
first and foremost the leader, so that we can tap into what is truly important for everybody. And then we come together and we figure out how to work together for real.
Oh,
And
wow. That's amazing. That's
Yeah. Thank
spectacular.
you.
Thank you so much. For all of you listening or following our social media, see you in our next episode of Entrepreneurs Are Leaders, how brave entrepreneurs like Isabel are running businesses to make the world a better place. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Follow us for more on charismatic speaking, leadership, exponential business growth, branding, marketing, strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.